From MTN News, this is Montana This Morning.
Good Monday morning. It's 6 o'clock. Welcome to Montana This Morning. I'm Victoria Hill. Thank you so much for starting your day with us. And good morning to Miller here with us on this Labor Day to tell us about the third day of this three-day weekend.
Yeah, hopefully everybody gets a three-day weekend. You know, it's going to be hot today. It's going to be very hot. And we're going to have to deal with the smoke, and it's going to be dry. So there's the trifecta for you. I'm so sorry about that. And you can see the smoke out there right now. It's very dense. The air quality will be poor today, but hang in there. We do have a cold front dropping through by this evening. That should alleviate the smoke at least briefly tomorrow. So tomorrow the air quality is going to be better, but today it's going to be poor. So just FYI. 61 right now at the airport. Humidity at 34%. That number is going to drop as we go along today, and that's going to add to the fire risks out there. Winds out of the southwest at about 14 miles an hour. Could see some gusts over 30 miles an hour today. So keep that in mind. Don't get out there causing any sparks. High yesterday got up to 90. We'll try to beat that today. Overnight low got down to about 54. We're starting off September on a dry note. For the year, we're still well over 3 inches in the hole. Not a lot of rainfall in the forecast this week. Maybe by this weekend we'll get lucky, and we do have a slight chance as it stands right now. Maybe just enough moisture we can tap into, but don't hold your breath. I can tell you this, it's just a very dry week on the way, so it's not going to help those drought numbers whatsoever. Temperatures currently 52 at Forsyth, Hardin at 50. We've got Columbus at 50, Harlingen at 53, Miles City at 53, and Glendive at 52. Highs today in the upper 80s to low 90s. We'll go 91 today here in the Magic City. We'll start off in the 50s and 60s. By the time we get to lunchtime, we'll be probably right at 80, and then you'll see those 90s later on this afternoon on this Labor Day.
Usually celebrated with some picnics or maybe some barbecues.
Sure.
So there's just a few ideas for you if you are off today and enjoying the day.
It is the unofficial end of summer today, and it's going to feel like summer, believe me.
Yes. All right, Miller. Well, thank you so much. I will get on to news.
Okay.
Our top story this morning, jobless benefits for millions of Americans are running out today. Some key federal programs put into place at the start of the pandemic are expiring. That includes a $300 a week boost in unemployment checks. Governor Greg Gianforte already ended that program months ago for Montana residents. There are no plans from the White House to reinstate these programs. Officials say the economy is ready for a shift forward. Experts say both COVID-19 vaccines may not be ready for this month's rollout of the booster shot. Dr. Anthony Fauci says the Moderna booster could be delayed while the company waits for approval from public health officials. He said Pfizer will have the booster ready by September 20th. He expects the Moderna booster to receive approval, but says it is just a matter of when that happens. Fauci recommends people get the booster of the same vaccine they already received. The latest coronavirus variant, known as Mu, is now in the U.S., but health officials say it is not an immediate threat at this time. The World Health Organization designated it as a variant of interest this week. Dr. Fauci says the Mu variant is not even close to being dominant, but that doctors and researchers are keeping a close eye on it. The WHO says more studies are still needed to find out whether the Mu variant is resistant to vaccines. Health officials are worried about what people do over the long holiday weekend during the pandemic. The average daily number of coronavirus cases is about 160,000. That's an increase of more than 1,000% since July 4th, when it's just more than 12,000. The CDC implored unvaccinated people to stay home over the long weekend, but travel numbers were up. The agency says nearly all hospitalizations and deaths are people who are not vaccinated. And get this, those Labor Day sales you've been waiting for may not be that much of a bargain after all. Experts say many retailers may claim an item is 40% off, but the price was actually raised to make the sale seem better. Even when you see those great deals, you should still shop around to make sure you're really saving money. A consumer advocacy group also says be careful of those insurance policies stores try to sell you when you buy a big ticket item. The group looked into the policies and most are not worth the money. Now closer to home, Carbon County deputies recovered a body from a vehicle in a ditch near Fromberg over the weekend. On Saturday, a man called authorities reporting he found an upside-down vehicle in an irrigation ditch near his property. When sheriff's deputies arrived at the scene, they found the vehicle mostly underwater and say it appears to have been there for some time. The sheriff's office said a crash and death investigation are ongoing. No other details about the recovered body or vehicle were released. In Glacier National Park, a missing Virginia woman was found dead over the weekend. 34-year-old Jennifer Coleman was last heard from on August 30th when she sent a text message from the Highline Trail. Then rescue teams discovered an abandoned campsite with some of Coleman's belongings early last week. So far, officials have not released any information about the nature of Coleman's death or where her body was recovered. Meanwhile, on the Blackfeet Reservation, search efforts are picking back up as volunteers gathered in Browning to look for ARDEN PEPION. The group got together on Sunday to mark PEPION's 4th birthday. She's been missing since April 22nd. There have been some clues on how the child disappeared. Tracks have been found leading to the Two Medicine River, and a boot believed to belong to PEPION was discovered in the water. Yesterday, the search team and volunteers performed rituals, sang songs, and had a small birthday celebration.
No, if we did find her, we would be at peace, you know. We would know that we could put her to rest, you know, and that she's a very important part of our life, you know.
2 people have been charged in connection with ARDEN's disappearance. Her uncle, Hax Viel, is charged with negligent endangerment and child neglect. He's accused of failing to supervise PEPION in potentially dangerous conditions. Kimberly Higgins, who is reported to be Viel's girlfriend, is charged with accountability for failing to notify law enforcement in a reasonable amount of time after learning ARDEN was missing. Also making headlines this morning, 2 of the country's top national security officials will meet with key allies in the Middle East today. Secretary of State Antony Blinken and Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin will tell allies that President Biden's decision to leave Afghanistan does not mean other countries will be abandoned. Blinken and Austin will reiterate the president's focus of growing security challenges from Russia and China, and they say the U.S. remains focused on preventing terrorist attacks against Americans in any country. Blinken will also visit Afghan evacuees in Germany during his trip. 68 people are now confirmed dead after Hurricane Ida pounded the U.S. from the Gulf all the way up to the Atlantic coast. Most of those deaths were in the Northeast. Around 500,000 people in Louisiana are still without power. CBS's Elise Preston has the latest on the cleanup effort and how the federal government is stepping up its help.
So this is what it's looking like right here.
Millions from the Gulf Coast to the Northeast continue to dry out and clean up from Ida's wrath, picking up the pieces after the destructive storm left countless families homeless.
Hopefully we get started and get this clean. We're going to take one day at a time.
Politicians in New Jersey and New York are looking days ahead. The Northeast saw months worth of hard rain in just a couple of hours.
In my mind, after what I witnessed firsthand, and the lives we lost, I'm operating on the assumption that this could happen again in another 10 days. Are we prepared for this to happen again in 10 more days?
Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is calling on Congress to address global warming and build stronger infrastructure that can handle flooding.
Ida took no prisoners politically. Red states were affected, blue states were affected, purple states were affected. Global warming and the havoc it wreaks knows no political boundaries.
Help is on the way. President Biden toured the devastation along the Gulf Coast Friday, promising federal funds to the recovery. Just yesterday, he also approved a disaster declaration for New Jersey. Elise Preston, CBS News, New York.
President Biden will tour parts of New Jersey and New York tomorrow. In the South, some homes and businesses may remain in the dark until the end of the month. Today, people evacuated from their homes due to the wildfire that was closing in on Lake Tahoe will return. More than 20,000 people left the area as dry weather and gusty winds fueled the Caldor fire within a couple miles of homes. At its worst point, the fire was spreading at a rate of 1,000 acres per hour. The Caldor fire is now 43% contained. Fire crews warned returning residents the smoke could still pose a health hazard to people with breathing problems. And before we take a break, Montana Grizzlies fans are still buzzing over one of the biggest upsets in college football history. The Grizz took down number 20 Washington 13-7 on Saturday, and as MTN's Kyle Hansen reports, it's a game that many in the Treasure State will never forget.
It's hard to put into words what happened here at Husky Stadium in Seattle, Washington on Saturday night. The Montana Grizzlies walked in and beat a ranked FBS opponent in Washington 13-7. And the scene on the ground afterwards was one of pandemonium, but one of celebration for the Grizz faithful.
This is App State over Michigan. Make no mistake on that.
The eyes of the college football world were on Montana when the Grizzlies shocked the FBS number 20 ranked Washington Huskies in their home stadium to open the 2021 season. When Marcus Wellnell intercepted Dylan Morris to seal the Grizz win, bedlam ensued on the field and sideline among the players and Grizz fans, who brought a strong contingent to Seattle to support their football team.
Like Washington, Montana football is a powerful presence in our region. And like Washington, people at Montana care about the Montana Grizzlies. They eat, sleep, drink, pray Montana football. It's awesome. It's one of the reasons why it's the greatest place in the world to play and coach, is our people love the Montana Grizzlies as much as we love the Montana Grizzlies.
Yep, we did it! We did it! Yes, sir!
The celebration was then on for Montana on the field, as players emotionally embraced one another, as the Grizzlies of Montana were the talk of the town and the country in college football, as they pulled off one of the biggest upsets in the history of the sport. Many looked at quarterback Cam Humphrey, who scored the go-ahead touchdown early in the fourth quarter, and was playing in a stadium he grew up just down the road from in nearby Issaquah, Washington.
It was awesome. I mean, like I said, we were working all week, and to be able to score some points for the Montana Grizzlies it's a great feeling. I still can't believe it. It's awesome. I mean, I can believe it because we're damn good. It's like out of a movie or something. It's pretty cool.
Gavin Robertson is another Seattle area native, and his 2 interceptions highlighted a dominant day from the defense that completely shut down the Huskies.
It was big being a part of this, going out there and beating a good UW team, and just all the guys just playing, hyped up. It was big time. I almost cried.
The celebration of Montana's players at midfield will live on in Grizzly lore forever. And for a guy who has been a part of some big games during his football career, Houck said this one takes sole possession of the top moment.
I've been coaching a long time. I think this is the biggest win in my coaching career. They're a good football team. And I think they're going to beat Michigan next week. That's what I think. We're very proud of getting this win, and I'm just blessed to be the head coach and coach these guys because they play for us.
The Grizzlies will enjoy this victory for now, but next week we'll look forward to their home opener when they welcome Western Illinois to Washington Grizzly Stadium. Reporting at Husky Stadium in Seattle, Washington, Kyle Hansen, MTN Sports.
Stick with us here on Montana This Morning.